welcome to my channel, TacomaTraveler. I'm Jen. It's great to have you here. And in this video, this is almost like a special request video because there's a subscriber, Bergie, yes you, who has very kindly and very patiently been waiting for a video on how I make or how I pick my spots, how I find my spots to camp. She's asked for it nicely a couple of times. Like I said, been very patient. And it's actually it's coincided very much with, I want to do this. I want to try to explain my process a little bit, but it's difficult. And again, these aren't kind of my best types of videos generally, but I'm going to do what I can. So the first thing I think that is kind of important to kind of lay the groundwork here is that I don't camp in 9 times out of 10, I don't camp in campgrounds. That's not my go-to. So I'm not going to talk about campgrounds that you pay to go to and you park and you have a reserved spot. It's not it. Also, most times I'm not camping to like set up a camp and stay in one place for like a weekend or several days. More often than not, I think just about almost every single time I've camped, I'm camping to get to a location so I can go out and do what I want to do. Generally, it might be kayaking or going for a hike or, you know, whatever, exploring the area that I'm in. So pretty much my campsites are overnights. I don't think, even though I've taken multi-day trips, I've never camped the same night consecutively in the same spot. I don't believe. I might have once, but I really don't think so. I move around. I like to kind of move around and see different things and get a lot of exploring in. Now there are times when I have been and have made use of official dispersed camping, which, you know, it's free, but there's like a fire ring or some kind of, you know, there's a space set aside for camping. It's not a campground. It's a single site kind of out in the woods generally here on the East Coast. But it's dispersed camping, usually in national forests. But again, I've only ever stayed there at any of those locations one night. And to find those locations, I watch other people's videos. So I subscribe to folks on YouTube. And I use the apps. So most of you who are watching this, if you've looked at camping at all in the way that I camp, you're probably familiar with some of the camping apps. I'll mention them. Freecampsites.net. I think that freecampsites.net. Yeah. I'll link these below in case I don't get it just right. iOverlander. Those are the two. The only two I use. I've looked at the Dirt, and I've looked at a couple others. I have not found them useful. That doesn't mean they're not useful for some folks. They're just not useful. I haven't found them useful for my area and the type of camping I do. But they can be useful for finding decent spots. There's usually, you know, you can get some feedback. You can read the reviews or read other people's experiences. You can get some feedback on what you can expect there. And if I'm traveling outside of my general close geographical area that I'm very familiar with, I will bounce into those apps and just look and see if there's anything in the area that I'd like to go to that might be any spots that are in the area that I'm headed to. That's if I'm kind of going out of state or traveling a good distance away from home. I will hit those apps, but I don't count on them. That's not. It's not like if I go to an area and there's nothing in that area, or there's only kind of ones that have really bad reviews or something, it's not like that's going to stop me. That's just my kind of, it's one of the ways I use. And I would encourage you, if you're thinking about doing the kind of camping that I do, to, you know, use the apps for what they're worth, but you don't have to rely on them. And just because somebody hasn't found a spot or hasn't marked a spot in the area you want to go to, definitely doesn't mean there's not spots available that you can overnight in and or potentially camp in if that's what you'd like to do. But I'm going to show you all that. We're going to do I'm going to show you a screen recording of me actually playing around on Google Maps, so I can hopefully demonstrate a little better about how I go about finding my spots. Okay, so when you open up Google Maps, this is generally what it's going to look like. This is kind of the default. And just to give you some idea of where we're talking about, so in the Mid-Atlantic region where I live, this is the peninsula that I live on. It's called the Delmarva Peninsula because it has Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia all in this little area. We're just to the east of Washington and Baltimore, to the south of Wilmington. You get the idea. Before we go any further, I want to show you, in case you're not aware of this, is the first thing you want to do if you're looking for a camping spot is to switch on satellite view. You're never going to find a spot the other way, looking at it the other way. This is much more useful. So recently, I wanted to have a spot. My last camping video, the last camping video I made, you saw I was by the water. That was what I wanted. I wanted to be on the water. I wanted a very simple trip. Just an overnight. So I started looking for a place that might work for me. And I went south of, I kind of live up here more in the middle of the peninsula. And so I went south down here because I know there's generally some good areas down here, some good possibilities. This one that just popped up as I'm zooming in, Guard Shore. That might look familiar. I don't know if anybody might recognize it from the satellite view, but I camped right there. I spent a day on this beach and camped overnight right there one night, and it was pretty epic. I will probably return there at some point because it's just a nice spot. And I've also camped at this boat ramp right there, which looks kind of messed up, a little janky, but it was actually a pretty nice spot. It was windy and cold the night I stayed there, but it was pretty good. So I know that there's some spots in this area that are potentially pretty good for camping. I don't like to repeat spots if I don't have to. I thought I might find something else down here in this general area. So just like how I found these two spots, this beach spot and this boat ramp spot, was just kind of following roads out to the water. But you could do it with anything. I mean, you just kind of pick an area you want and then, try to find little roads that go out in the direction that you'd like to go. So like this road, for instance, this one, Gladding Landing Road. So I look at this. Oh, well, right off you see there's a house here. There's all kind of vehicles. Looks like essentially it's almost private property, if not private property, so that's a big no. So moving on, I see, okay, what is this? It's Muddy Creek Road. You see the name right there. Follow it out. Okay, it looks isolated. You're not around anybody. That looks like a good possibility, but let me see. And this I'm kind of just walking through the process how I decided on things. Where's the nearest house? That's what I look at sometimes. And okay, so that's the nearest house, but look, the road bends a few times. There's some trees. If I'm down here at this spot, chances are I'm not going to bother this person whatsoever. Let's see, where were they? They're way back here. So I'm not going to cause them any disruption, or I'm not going to disturb them or make them worry or wonder. And I'm probably just going to be left alone all night and have a nice night and not bother anybody. So this is actually where I ended up camping for my last camping trip. So this is where I got that sunset from. What's interesting is this satellite picture must have been taken after we had a big storm, because look at all these boards. All the boards are missing off of this little pier and this little dock that goes out to it. And all that was completely repaired and all fixed up nice when I was there. That dock actually is where I took the sunset photo from, and the sun was setting right over this way, kind of behind these little trees and stuff. And I camped. I parked right along here, so that if somebody did come in, they could still turn around, okay, without me being in the way. That is where I ended up. I did look down here again. There's Guard Shore, so I did look south of Guard Shore a little bit. I looked at this, Now this looked real tempting to me because that looks just like a nice spot. Just kind of surrounded by water, nice view, look like a good place. And also this down here would be a possibility, but it obviously gets more traffic and more built up and has more folks coming and going from there. But then I look, and here's the house that's kind of closest. It looks like they're situated their house and their deck and everything to look out over the water, out over this way, which is what I would do if I had that property. So essentially, and there's no real trees. I mean, there's these little scrubby trees, but I felt like there's probably every chance that if I'm sitting down here, I'm basically sitting right in their view. You know, if I lived there, I wouldn't like that. I'd be, you know, you might wonder what's somebody doing down there. And then from my perspective, they may feel like they need to call somebody to come and, you know, check it out or come knock on the window or something. So that's probably going to be a no. But again, I had found this spot that looked pretty good. So that was my prime spot. Now, as I've mentioned several times, I almost always, unless I'm 100% sure or I happen to have a reservation somewhere, which doesn't happen really, but I always have a backup spot. So what's cool about where I live is, okay, so this is considered Bayside because here's the Chesapeake Bay. So this is the bay side of the peninsula. Over here is the beach side of the peninsula. So again, let's see if I can find where it was. All right, yeah, there's the road. There's where I ended up staying. But if for some reason I had gotten down there and the road had been closed, or it just didn't feel right, or something like that didn't suit, and I needed to find another spot, my backup spot, because I planned to go over here to Chincoteague Island. This is all Chincoteague. And there's the Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge. I planned to go over there the following day. I ended up going over there for the sunrise. I went the whole way across here, and let's see, where was I for the sunrise? Somewhere. Yeah, I was right along in here for the sunrise. I was parked there, and I got the sunrise right there. But anyway, I didn't know that I was going to do that for sure, but I knew that I was going to end up over here, maybe hiking around the next day. So this was going to be, this is the road into Chincoteague, and let's see if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. So this boat ramp was going to be my secondary, my backup spot. Why is this a backup spot, not a primary spot? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's right here. I mean, this is the only road going into Chincoteague. You know, probably not going to get a lot of traffic overnight, but still, I mean, you're kind of right there. It's not really isolated or very private, but, you know, nothing wrong with that. Probably would work. So that was where I was going to head if there was any problem at my first pick of a spot. I did check this out. I'd never actually taken this little spur, and I'd never been down on this boat ramp before, even though I've been on this road several times. While I was down there, on Saturday, I did check that out, and I mean, essentially, there was no sign saying you can't park overnight or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, it's right near the road. I don't know that I would actually do that, but it was a peace of mind backup spot. Okay, so I want to show you another. The trip that I'm currently planning. By the time you see this video, I'll actually be wrapping up the trip that I'm going to talk about next. But this trip is different in that the trip I just showed you, I wanted to be around water. I wanted a quick overnight. I wanted something close. But I've also been feeling more recently that I'm really ready for a bigger hike, and I want to find a place, a good place to hike and also camp, and then I need to find a place to camp around it. So this Pulpit Rock and the Pinnacle Loop. So Jeff from Five Horizons told me about this. It's an 8-mile hike, and okay. There we are. No. So I want to see, does it look like, okay, here's the trailhead. There's parking and parking over here. But even on Google Maps, this says daytime parking. So that is, you know, that's pretty clear cut. There's some kind of structure here. Large building. It says daytime parking only at the trailhead. It doesn't look like that great of a spot anyway for an overnight. So I want to see what can I find that's nearby and close, but that's a little more out of the way and that nobody will have a problem with me staying there. So I look and see, what town am I near? Okay, so I'm near Port Clinton. It looks like that's a good one. I mean, I could pick any of these, but let's go with Port Clinton, and I'll go to freecampsites.net. Once I get to freecampsites.net, I'll enter Port Clinton, PA, and see what it has there for me. Does make it a little tough when it's, you know, it's not, it doesn't give you the same view, but let's see what's around, what comes up. So you can just click on these and get little, all right, that's a Walmart, no, not a First Stop. Home Depot, no. See, that's what the trouble is with these, is Home Depot, no. What's over here? That's pretty far away, but Cabela's, not really interested. So I'm not really finding anything there on freecampsite.net. Sometimes you can get some good stuff, sometimes not. So I'm going to check out iOverlander. Once I get to iOverlander, I'm going to go to, same thing, Port Clinton, PA. Okay, so let's see. Kind of trying to get close to the area. All right, there's Port Clinton right in the middle. There's a bunch of spots around here. That one said State Forest parking area, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to get some more information on that. Big rig friendly, tent friendly, pet friendly. Large parking area, half-mile from the main road. Access road is gravel and well maintained. Half-mile from the main road, that I don't tend to generally like that, but this is nice because you can pop it up and actually see photos. So there's a second photo. There's a main photo. That looks like a perfectly good area. The only downside being is that it is on iOverlander, and it is, you can see it there, it's very close to the main road, as I said, only a half a mile off the main road. So chances are there might be some other folks there. Again, I don't like being that close. This is actually called, this is a turnpike, so fairly large road that it's off of. The plus side is that it's easy access, but the negative side is it's easy access. The more remote you are, the less chance you're going to run into other folks. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. We'll look at it on Google Maps. And of course we want to switch over. There's 61. This is the turnpike that it was. So that spot is going to be, looks like probably right about there. Somewhere in that area, which is, I mean, it's okay. So that has a good possibility of being a backup, or, you know, I could probably stay there just fine. I don't, like I said, I don't generally like to be that close to a main road, but this state Gamelands dirt road, it actually is called a dirt road, has potential in my eyes. It's windy, it's curvy, it looks like it goes off into the mountains, kind of little trails off all over the place, And see, when I see a gap like that, you can see right there, that's probably a good spot. That could very well be a good spot. But it looks like there's a lot of potential. Now this is a trail going off of the dirt road, because you can see it goes into dotted lines. But what's catching my eye on this is this little road right here that dead ends down there. I do like dead end roads. I can park facing out, and I can know if anyone is approaching. I get a good heads up because you hear them on the road before they come up. So this to me looks like a good place to overnight. It's secluded, it's tucked back, it's off a dirt road in the forest, in the mountains. Yeah, so that is probably where I'm going to be when you're watching this. Or, well, I'll be on this. I'm going to overnight probably right there with this spot here as my backup. Where did I find that? Wherever that was. It was right off of, yeah, right there. But so you can just follow these roads, these dirt roads, these fire roads. This in Pennsylvania they call them state game roads. Now I don't have any experience on these state game roads, so I really don't know what to expect. I don't know if they might potentially be closed, or as it's still sort of almost just getting past winter time, sometimes they do close some of these roads. But all in all, that looks like a good spot. And then it's just I will take this road probably going up here. I know I have good cell service in this area, I think. I'm pretty sure, so I'm not sure how Google will take me. I might download the maps just to be sure. But again, we were talking about camping right there, and my trail that I hope to hike is right there, which should be kind of cool because you have, it's called the Pulpit and Pinnacle again, so you have Pulpit Rock overview and the Pinnacle overview. Supposed to be good sightseeing at both of those spots, but again, it's pretty challenging trail. I hope I'm up for it. So I hope this video has been useful. I hope I haven't been too confused. I hope I was able to be fairly clear. I really enjoyed, actually. I thought it was going to be like something I didn't like, doing the whole screen thing and talking, but I kind of like that. It's kind of like I was sitting there with you and kind of just showing you my screen, which that's what I was doing. So I don't know. I really enjoyed the process. I meant to say at the beginning, I apologize for how I sound. I know I sound rough. I've been fighting a little head cold for about a week, and I'm on the mend. I'm definitely doing better, but I know I still sound a little rough, so thanks for putting up with that. So if you didn't catch, I did a little announcement on the video, on the channel, about a new blog I have, TacomaTravler Chronicles. Does not actually really roll off the tongue that well, but I kind of like it anyway. TacomaTravler Chronicles. I'll have a link to it in the notes for this video. It's going to be like a companion to this channel, a place where I can talk about my ideas, my thoughts, my plans. So if you're interested in diving a little deeper and kind of getting the behind the camera sense of what's going on with the channel, pop on over there. I'm going to be updating it, I anticipate, fairly frequently. So I look forward to kind of growing that and seeing what develops there. As I'm wrapping up getting this video done and edited and ready to get out to you, I am also planning my next trip, which I will leave for tomorrow. I'm really excited about it. I need this. I need to get away. I'm excited about a trail I'm going to hike. It's going to be a good challenge. Just all kinds of good things. The weather looks like it's going to be just beautiful. So as always, thanks for watching so much. Really appreciate it. And I will see you next time.